Let's talk about the most complex, most fascinating war zone in the entire universe. And it's not in some distant galaxy. It's inside your own body. Because your health, well, it isn't just a passive state. It's a dynamic, ongoing battlefield.
I mean it. Right this second, there's a war being waged inside you. And the real question is, do you have any idea who's winning? Are your defenses holding strong, or are the invaders starting to gain ground? Okay, so before we can really get into the nuts and bolts of the conflict, we've got to know what it is we're fighting to protect. What does good health even mean? You know, the definition might actually be a lot broader than you think.
And here's the thing. Health isn't just about not having a cold or a fever. It's so much more. It's a state of complete well-being. That means physically, mentally, and socially. That is the peace we're trying to maintain against all the threats out there.
You can think of this battle for our health as being fought on three main fronts. First, there's the stuff we're born with, genetic disorders. Second, you've got infections, which are basically attacks from outside invaders. And third, and this is a big one, is our lifestyle, the choices we make every single day.
So, let's zoom in on that second front, because we need to know what we're up against. We are constantly surrounded by an absolute swarm of infectious agents or pathogens, all of them trying to get past our defenses. Let's meet some of the usual suspects.
And what's just wild is how different these enemies are. You've got bacteria that can cause something as serious as typhoid fever. Then there are viruses, which give us the common cold. You have tiny little protozoa responsible for malaria, and even fungi, which can cause stuff like ringworm. It's a whole rogues gallery of microscopic troublemakers.
So you look at all those threats out there, and you have to wonder, how on earth do we survive for even a day? Well, the answer is our incredible internal defense force, the immune system. This is the sophisticated, multi-layered army that stands between us and, well, all of that.
Now, this immune army isn't just one big unit. It's got two major branches. Think of your innate immunity as the first responders. They're generalists, always on patrol, ready from the day you're born. This is your skin, your stomach acid, the guards at the gate. But then you have acquired immunity. And these guys, they're like the elite special forces, highly trained, super intelligent, and specialized to fight one specific enemy. And here's where it gets really, really cool. These special forces, they have a secret weapon, a superpower really, that makes them incredibly effective. And that weapon is memory. They have the ability to remember an enemy they fought before. And trust me, that changes everything.
Just look at the difference it makes. The first time your body sees a new bad guy, the response is kind of slow, a little weak, it's figuring things out. But the second time it sees that same enemy, oh, the response is massive and it's lightning fast, because the system remembers it's already prepared. This right here is the core idea that makes vaccines work.
So how do these special forces actually attack? Well, one of their absolute go-to weapons is the antibody. You can think of these like tiny, precision-guided missiles. They're proteins that are custom-designed to lock on to one and only one type of invader, tagging it for complete destruction.
But imagine for a second, what if an enemy was clever? What if, instead of just attacking your castle walls, it was smart enough to sneak inside and take out the generals in your command center? Now that is a whole different level of threat.
And that, unfortunately, brings us to AIDS. It stands for Acquired Immunodeficiency Syndrome. And the key words there are immunodeficiency. See, it's not one specific sickness. It's a syndrome that's caused by the total failure of the immune system itself. The enemy is attacking the army, not just the fortress.
The virus that causes AIDS, HIV, has a terrifyingly brilliant strategy. First, it invades the helper T lymphocytes. These are like the field commanders of your immune army. Then, it hijacks the cell's own machinery, turning that commander into a factory that does nothing but pump out more viruses. And finally, all those new viruses burst out, destroying the commander cell and immediately moving on to attack other commanders. It systematically dismantles the entire leadership of your body's defenses.
Okay, so we've been talking about invaders from the outside, but now we have to shift gears and talk about a different kind of war. A war that in many ways is even more terrifying because it's a civil war, where the enemy is us. We're talking about cancer.
Think about it. All of our cells are supposed to follow a really strict set of rules. They grow when they're told, they divide when they're told, and they stop when they're told. Cancer is what happens when that system just breaks. A group of our own cells decides to ignore all the rules and just starts growing and dividing uncontrollably.
It's a full-on rebellion from within.
Now, these cellular rebellions, or tumors, generally come in two main flavors. A benign tumor is like a contained uprising. Yeah, it grows, but it stays put in one place. A malignant tumor, on the other hand, is an all-out invasion. Malignant cells can actually break away, travel through your body, and start new tumors in totally different places. That ability to spread, which is called metastasis, is what makes cancer so incredibly dangerous.
So what can make a normal cell just go rogue like this? Well, the triggers are called carcinogens, and they tend to fall into three buckets. You've got physical agents, like UV radiation from the sun. There are chemical agents, like the carcinogens that are famously found in tobacco smoke. And there are even biological agents, like certain viruses that can actually cause cancerous changes in our cells.
And all of this, it brings us to the final and maybe the most important part of this whole story. We've met the invaders from outside, we've met the rebels from within. So now we have to ask ourselves, what's our role in this fight? Are we being an ally or a saboteur?
Because here's the bottom line. The choices we make every single day have a direct impact on this battlefield. Our habits and our lifestyle can either build up our immune army and make it stronger, or they can actively tear it down, leaving us wide open to attack.
And when we talk about self-sabotage, well, the examples are pretty stark. Abusing drugs like heroin slows down your entire body's functions. We all know that using tobacco is directly linked to a whole host of cancers, and long-term alcohol abuse basically wages a slow, grinding war on your nervous system and your liver.
Which really leaves us with just one very personal question. The war for your health is happening, constantly. The battlefield is your body, and the threats are coming from both the outside and the inside. So, knowing all of that, what role are you playing? Are your choices making you your body's own greatest ally?